guys, I hope you're all doing very well. I've been quite busy this last couple of weeks writing exams, but I'm now finally finished, so you'll be seeing a lot more of me in this expansion. I'm going to be using the next couple of months to finally finish the book I've been writing for the last couple of years, Children of the Mark. I'm very excited to get it published. It's going to take a bit of work, but it will be done within the next 2 or 3 months. Also, I will be making a lot more Gwent videos because of the free time I now have on my hands, so do not fear. In this video, I will be showing you the top 10 cards that have been released so far, at least in my subjective view. These are the cards that make me the most excited to get back to Gwent, as well as the cards that might just have the most potential for abuse. So I hope you like it, and let's get to it. Now the card we're starting off with is merely an honorable mention, but I had to include it for a variety of reasons. The first is the fact that it's called Triangle Within a Triangle. Now the acronym of that is very interesting and probably not merely a coincidence on CDPR's part. But hey, yes. So what this does is it boosts an ally by its provision cost or a damage an enemy by its provision cost. It's also a spell card, so it can be used in effect decks or perhaps with Ulzer. It depends how you want to use this, but you will be seeing a lot of this, and I will be surprised if most people don't include this in their decks. Now this is my second honorable mention. It's something we've been waiting for a long time in Gwent, and it's Geralts Queen sign. Now, what this does is, it has a shield, but when deployed, it plays a Witcher from your deck, something you're going to be doing quite a lot. Now, this is basically just a tutor for Witchers, much like Blood Eagle is a tutor for Skellige Warriors, for example. Now, a new keyword you're going to have to learn is Adrenaline. Adrenaline refers to the amount of cards you have in your hand. So at Adrenaline 3, it means you have 3 cards left in your hand. This has the potential for abuse, and it will help you in the future when you're determining whether you should bleed your opponent or go for a long round 3, for example. So in this scenario, if you have Adrenaline 3, Geralt will also give your Witcher a shield, which can come in very handy. Here we begin. Number 10, Griffin. Now, for a Corvo player like myself, this is absolutely out of this world. What happens is, at the end of the round, you shuffle this card back into your deck, keeping all of its boosts. So imagine this, you have Visigoth of Corvo in a long round 2. You realize you're not gonna make it, but you've been giving most of your boosts to the Griffin. What happens? The Griffin gets shuffled back into your deck for a short round 3. As long as you have the cards to pull it out, like a Neuromancy, which we will have, you have all of the boosts from round 2 ready for round 3 at your disposal. Now, there will likely be a lot of cards in this expansion that target big cards like Griffin, but hey, if we can play around those, this is a potentially very dangerous Northern Realms card. Number 9, Kashi. Now, Kashi is a very dangerous card. It has Thrive, so every time you play a card that's bigger than him, he will grow. But whenever Thrive is triggered, a drone will be spawned in that same row. So this is not just a Thrive engine, it also spawns drones. But wait, when you reach Adrenaline 4, meaning you have only 4 cards left in your hand or less, whenever Thrive is triggered, you will instead spawn an Andrega larva on the row. Which is absolutely insane, because that's a 5 provision bronze card, and that itself has Thrive as well. So this is a very strong card, and a lot of people have started theory crafting and think that it will be worth it to play Karanthe with Kashi to make sure you have 1 in each row. I think this is a potential, I think this is something you could do, but keep an eye on it. Kashi is not to be messed with. Number 8. Arnachad. Now, Arnachad is a Skellige Witcher, and on deploy, he gains 1 armor for every damaged unit. So remember, this includes not only your enemy's units, but your own as well. On Adrenaline 4, what happens is, when your opponent plays a unit, Arnachad will damage that unit by his own power, and then what's left of that unit will damage Arnachad. Now this is obviously very dangerous because it's like an automatic duel engine, except it's not dueling until the death, and Arnachad always gets the first blow. This is potentially very dangerous, especially if you're able to increase Arnachad's power by keeping him alive with extra shields, armor, boosts, you have it. Number 7, Dire Bear. This is by far one of my favorite cards, but I have to place him at 7 because there are so much stronger cards here. But the capabilities of this one is absolutely endless, especially in this sort of meta. Now, units in this row, as well as the opposite row, which is your enemy's row, cannot be boosted. This is exceptionally dangerous, especially when it comes to things like symbiosis, which would now be non-existent. You wouldn't be able to play Ozra in a monstrous deck in the ranged row if this is here, because Ozra wouldn't be able to get any boosts. Let's say I played Visugota of Corvo alongside Dandelion in the range row. Corvo wouldn't get a single boost given by Dandelion because of the Dire Bear that is strategically placed in the range row. I love this card very much. I feel like it's an absolute must include in any Skellige deck. I definitely will be including it in mine. And yeah, just look at that thing. That's not something you want to be messing with. Number 6, Cohen. Now Cohen is a Northern Realms card and is a lot more powerful than most people think. At some point I personally spoke to Jason Slimer and asked him about this, and he did confirm my suspicions. So how Cohen works is, he has Zeal as well as Order. So on Order, he boosts all units with power equal to Cohen's by the amount that Cohen is boosted. Right. So when they refer to power, they're not referring to his base power, which is 3. They're referring to his current power. So if you boost Cohen up until 8 points, his power is 8. And any card that is 8 will get boosted by 5, because Cohen is boosted by 5. So if you can keep Visugota of Corvo alive, you can manipulate your hand in such a way that Cohen boosts cards by a substantial amount. He is very dangerous if left unchecked, and that's also the reason why he's merely 3 points. But there are many ways to make sure that he isn't a mere 3 points when he leaves your hand. Things like King Balahoon will make sure that he isn't 3 when he is played. But this is something I'm going to be including in my first Northern Realms draft. I can't wait to see how powerful it is, and I will likely be combining it with the Griffin Witcher Adept, the card I got to reveal quite a while back. Number 5, Viper. Now this is an absolutely extraordinary card and is a lippy killer. At the end of the round, this card is put into your opponent's graveyard. That's when the fun starts. At the end of every turn, while in the graveyard, he will banish the lowest cost card from it, and it will start getting higher as they go along. If the Viper is the only card in the graveyard, meaning all the other cards have likely been eaten, it is given Doomed and then summoned to your opponent's random row. Now that is an important key part you need to take note of. Remember, when it's in your opponent's graveyard, the keyword opponent is referring to you. So, I play the Viper goes into my opponent's graveyard, it eats all the cards, and then it comes back to my row. So I am now the opponent. And basically what that means is, not only does it eat all of my opponent's cards in the graveyard, it comes back to my side of the board, and I get him for free for another round. That's another 7 points on the board that you wouldn't have had otherwise. This is potentially very strong. It will definitely be anti-meta at some point if you can get rid of certain cards in the graveyard you don't want your opponent to have, and that is why this is at number 5. Number 4, Gesras of Ilovo, the Cat Witcher. So, if placed on the melee row, at the end of the turn, it will move south to the range row and boost a random allied unit on the row by 1. If on the range row, at the end of the turn, it will move south to the melee row and damage a random enemy unit on the opposite row by 1. Now, if it reaches Adrenaline 3, that's where things get a bit pricey for your opponent. Instead of a random unit, it will affect all other units in a row. So on the melee row, it will boost all allied units on that row. And on the range row, it will damage all enemy units on the row it targets. Very strong card. I think this will be included in almost every square tile deck. I can see no reason it wouldn't be. And it is at number 4 in our countdown. Now, number 3, Ederen of Ilovo. This is a very straightforward card and extremely dangerous. If this is paired with something like Ulzer, it has the potential to completely flip a game. So the first time you spawn a unit each turn, this card will spawn a 1 power copy of that unit on this row and give it doomed. So any card you spawn gets another 1 point copy. It's like Caranthir but an endless engine. It's ridiculous, and it might just be the first card that I get premiumed. Ederen of Ilovo. Number 2, Salamander. Now just look at that little face, but don't get fooled by it. It is extremely poisonous and will ruin your opponent's day. So, I have played around with this idea, and it is as bad as you think. So, it gains 1 profit to begin with. Now, it will increase that profit for every allied Salamander unit, which helps a lot with the costs, and you're going to be needing it. So when you deploy this, you will be poisoning a unit. But if you have 9 coins for the tribute ability, this card will poison all other units on the battlefield, including your opponents and your own. Now, let's say we get a bit greedy with this. Not only do we have the necessary coins in hand, we also play Louisa, so our tribute abilities for free. And we play Sienna, so our deployability happens again. What does this mean for us? It means Salamander poisons all units on the board twice in 1 turn. They will go unless they have Veil. This is going to be on the Dandelion show for the next few weeks, I'm sure. And the Syndicate cards are full of poison this meta. It is packed with them and potentially the most dangerous cards in the game. That's bringing me to the last and final card. The one I think is the most dangerous card in this whole expansion so far. Fallen Raila, number 1. So, she gains 3 profit, and with a mere tribute of 3, she gains Veil. Now, at Adrenaline 3, whenever you pay a tribute ability, she will boost herself by what that tribute costed. So, that means if you have to pay a 9-point tribute ability to use your little Salamander boy, she will gain 9 points. If you use Salamander twice in the way I just showed you, she will gain 18 points. And that's only the start. If you have enough tribute abilities that follow before you run out of cards, she will gain all of those coins, potentially doubling the amount your coins are worth. She also has Veil, so one of the only ways she can actually be removed, because poison isn't one of them, Salamander can't target Fallen Raila, would be with Vincent in Nilfgaard, or something along the lines of Heatwave or Curse of Corruption. So if you were to end a game by playing Fallen Raila and then playing Salamander twice, you could potentially get rid of all other units on the entire board except for Fallen Raila, which will be quite massive, hopefully winning you the game. So guys, that has been it. That is my top 10 picks. Let me know in the comments what you think I should have mentioned, and I'm sure by the time this video airs, we will have had a few other leaks in the Masters events that are actually worth mentioning. I will see you soon, and I hope you guys enjoy the expansion as much as I'm going to.